Hello and a very warm welcome to Talk Manchester. I'm Chyaz and for the next hour I'll be chatting about the day's top social media trending topics, along with two of Manchester's finest online personalities. Today I'm joined by Nafi, a beauty blogger and Manchester tweeter, and Rachel, a singer and video blogger. Our topics today range from airports to dogs, with discussions about mobile phones and Debbie Harry thrown into the mix too. Of course, we'd love you to join in the conversation as well. You can tweet us at That's Manchester, email me Chyaz at thatsmanchester.co.uk or text us on 075 48 200 007 and start your message with the word talk. A big hello to you both, hope you're okay today. Yeah. Nafi, welcome back to the show, you've been on before. For those who haven't tuned in, tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I'm basically a beauty blogger and a YouTube content creator, so I kind of just talk about all the beauty products I've been loving, any kind of fashion and with a little bit of lifestyle and advice thrown in there as well.
And when did you start your YouTube channel?
I started about a year ago actually.
And was that off the back of your blog as well?
Yeah, it was kind of just something extra to go with it, because I watched YouTube videos for such a long time, so I thought I'd give it a go myself.
Fabulous stuff. And Rachel, this is your first time on the show.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about what you do.
I'm a singer and I've just started making YouTube videos as well. I'm still really new to it, but I'm enjoying them.
And what do you make your videos about?
It's just day-to-day life really. I tend to, like, if I go out on a gig, I'll film stuff at the gig and stuff like that. Like, I did a bit of filming on the way here today, so that'll end up in a vlog at some point.
Oh, I definitely have to check that one out. And with your singing, how long have you been singing for?
I originally started when I was about 4. I used to go to karaoke on a Sunday afternoon, sing a bit of Over the Rainbow, that was always my tune.
Oh.
And then it went from there really. I went to school and ended up in pantomimes and musical stuff like that, and then I went on to musical theatre at college, and then I just thought, why not do something with it? I joined a duo, and then I think it was about January this year, I decided to go out on my own, and I'm doing really well at the moment.
Fantastic! That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, really inspiring. Actually, talking about inspirational stories, that's something we're going to come on to later in the show, so we'll definitely hear more about your singing journey then as well. But for now, we're going to still launch into the top trending topic of the day across social media and the news really. It's been a huge topic. Heathrow. So the Airports Commission has backed plans for a third Heathrow runway. So this means that, you know, if this all does eventually go ahead, Heathrow Airport's going to be much bigger, much busier, and obviously this has a bit of a knock-on effect on the local environment around Heathrow as well. What are your thoughts about this? Do you think it's a positive thing or a bit negative?
I mean, Heathrow Airport is very big as it is, so maybe the money used into that could be put to another local airport instead, because I mean, I love airports, but I also understand that it might disrupt the lives of people around them as well. So.
Definitely can have that knock-on impact, and that's been something that's been hugely discussed on social media. People have said you've got to think of the other side of it as well, so it's been quite balanced. Rachel, do you think this is a positive step forward or not sure?
To be honest, I'm not too sure. I don't really have too much of a view on airports because I've actually never been abroad. The only time I've ever been in an airport was last week when my brother came home from Canada.
Oh, really?
Just went to greet him there. But I do think that London seems to get everything big like that. Manchester seems to get left out a little bit, I think.
What do you think the benefits to Manchester could be if like you said, Nafi, this money could be put towards perhaps enhancing a Manchester airport scene?
Yeah, I mean, because I think the Manchester airport's a little bit more excluded from like local houses and stuff like that, which I think would make a big difference. And it's a lot more smaller, so maybe we could use an extra runway to help with planes and stuff, get extra planes up here for the north. And so definitely, I mean, I really enjoy airports. I like going to the airports and seeing other flights and planes and stuff. So yeah.
I do as well, actually. It just gives you that little like feeling of going on holiday. It's just an exciting feeling. I love airports, and the shopping, of course, have to mention that.
Definitely.
Quite excellent. And Rachel, so you say you haven't actually been abroad.
No.
What's the reasons behind that? Do you think maybe if there was more of a bigger airport in Manchester, you might want to venture out somewhere?
Yeah, maybe that, and if they made the flights a bit cheaper as well. I'd love to go to like Disney World or anything because I'm a massive Disney fan, but I think it's just the expense really.
Definitely. I think there's been a lot of talk about sort of the expense side of things as well on social media. People saying, you know, if airports get bigger and there's a lot more service, it might end up being like a little bit cheaper as well. Would that be something that would sort of really tempt you to sort of plan a few places you want to go in the world?
Yeah,
and Disney would be the first stop?
Yeah.
Excellent
It
stuff.
has to be the one in Florida though, not Paris.
Oh, I see. So you've got to do the full big trip to Florida.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You'll really enjoy it. It's fab. So talking about travel, so Rachel, you say you've not been on a plane, and Nafi, you say you quite like airports. What is it about the experience that you just enjoy?
I just like seeing the different people around there and stuff. It reminds me of Love Actually, the scene at the airport and stuff like that. And I just kind of like the atmosphere of an airport. I can't really pinpoint it, but it's just something about airports that really make me smile. I mean, I have good memories of it because whenever a family member would go to the airport, go on holiday, we'd all go and send them off and have a look around a little bit as well. So probably a little bit of nostalgia in there, but yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's lovely. And talking about other sort of types of travel as well, things like trains. We talked quite a lot on the show about trains before because it's something that we all tend to experience more than planes. It's more of like a common experience, and buses as well. What could make sort of general travelling better in your view?
Not sure really. I mean, I've never really had too much of an issue with buses and trains and stuff like that. Again, I think prices for them could be lowered a little bit because it is getting quite expensive now to travel anywhere really.
Yeah. Do you think that if it was a little bit cheaper, you feel sort of encouraged to sort of get out about and see a little bit more of the UK as well?
Yeah, I do love to travel, but it's just again the expense.
Yeah, yeah. And Nafi, how about you? Do you tend to, because I know you're a beauty blogger and a lot of events are held down in London as well, do you tend to go down to London for any events?
Not a lot, no. If something came up, I would definitely look into going, yeah.
Yeah.
But I like travelling. I really don't mind sitting on a train for an hour or however long and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean the price does matter a little bit, but I don't really mind, as long as I've got enough notice.
Yes.
I don't mind at all.
Excellent stuff. We're going to move on to a rather obvious topic because I think we're all feeling the heat today. It's the hottest day of the year, and this has been a huge conversation on social media. In fact, after Heathrow, the top topic, everybody just talking about how warm it is, and it really is very warm. Why do we love to talk about the weather so much? What do you think?
I have no idea, but it just seems like a really British thing, isn't it? If it's really raining, we seem to say it's really raining, and if it's really warm, it's just one of those things we like to talk about.
It is. And why do you think it might be one of the top trends?
I think it's just people complaining, oh, it's too warm, it's too warm.
I have to say, I notice this, but I do it all the time. I never seem to be happy with the weather. It's either too hot, too cold, too rainy, too windy. It's just, we never seem to be satisfied. Yet in the UK, our extremes of weather aren't really that bad, are they?
No, not compared to like other places like Russia where you get extreme places like from really cold to really warm and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's just because we haven't really had sunshine like this for such a long time in the UK. I don't even think we had it last summer as far as I can remember, so I think that's probably got a little bit to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you tend to deal with the hot weather? Because we all have our different sort of ways of dealing with it. So I just love to drink loads of water and just drink and drink and drink. So how do you tend to deal with it?
I think an ice lolly is always a good way.
Oh, absolutely. Could just have an ice lolly right about now, actually. How about you, Nafi?
Yeah, water, juices, ice cream that we were just talking about before the show, things like that.
And how about things like sunscreen? Because it is really important to keep the skin protected, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you tend to sort of wear sunscreen only on the hottest days, or do you tend to sort of make sure you wear it daily?
Well, I have specific sunscreen for when it's really warm like this. And then for regular use, I kind of make sure I have like an SPF in there and stuff like that.
I see. How about you, Rachel?
I am so bad for sun cream and stuff like that. I always forget to put it on. I've actually got scars on my shoulder from a couple of years ago when I went out to do an outside gig and didn't put any on, and it actually blistered my shoulders.
That's scary. And did that make you think, to be a bit more careful about it?
At the time it did, because I thought I never want to go through this again because it was so painful, but I actually came out today and forgot to put any on.
It is easy to forget. I actually know what you mean. I tend to rely on SPFs in things like moisturisers or foundation. That's what I tend to rely on, but it is so important. It's just a tricky one to remember, but I think when it's this hot, you're so distracted with trying to sort of stay hydrated and things, but it definitely is a good thing to remember. I really want to talk about your favourite things to do in Manchester when it's a really lovely hot day.
Okay. I like going walks in parks. I think that's really nice, having a picnic somewhere, growing, like some bread, hummus, some kind of salad, that kind of thing. Just having a chill out with my friends. maybe going to like somewhere that's air conditioned.
Yeah, oh, that sounds lovely. Rachel, how about you?
I love picnics and stuff like that in Heaton Park. Heaton Park's always good in summer. And I'm from Rochdale as well, so up near Hollingworth Lake. I don't know if you know it or not.
Oh, fab.
That's always really nice as well.
Yeah.
And failing that, like a little farm or a zoo or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I always find there's so much to do in Manchester when it's nice and warm. I just love wandering around, because what I find in Manchester, I don't know about you guys, I always find when I walk around Manchester and I figure out where different places are, I realise that everything's actually quite close together, isn't it? Do you find that?
Yeah, you realise it's not as far as you would think, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many sort of nice cafes, especially in places like the Northern Quarter, to sit outside and have a cool drink. Do you tend to like doing that? Is that something that you might do on like a weekend?
Yeah, definitely, go grab coffee and stuff, read a book outside, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's lovely. And I wanted to, again, we mentioned public transport before, and I did want to touch on this because it's another thing that people tend to complain about a little bit, because we like a good complaint, don't we, when it's about the weather. And public transport seems to be sort of a big thing. I looked at the hashtag on social media today, and half of the tweets were about people saying, I'm dreading going on the train, it's going to be really, really hot. So what do you think could be done to improve that?
I actually saw something, I think it was on Facebook this morning, saying that a certain train company, I can't remember which one it was, were giving out free ice lollies and free bottles of water on the train.
Ooh, that sounds fabulous.
I never got one on the way here, but we won't complain.
Nafi, how about you? What do you think?
But I actually got a train here today, and I mean, it was in rush hour, so it was really packed and stuff. It wasn't too bad, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
They did their best to make us comfortable. So,
yeah, I guess that's sort of the best thing you can hope for. But the bottles of water and ice lollies sounds like an absolutely fantastic plan. I love it. We're going to take a short break now. Join us in just a few minutes when we'll be talking all about Jeremy Hunt and pet pooches. See you in 3. Welcome back to Talk Manchester. Joining me on the sofa today we have beauty blogger Nafi and singer Rachel. We're chatting about all of the day's top social media trending topics, and we certainly have a mixed bag to talk about today. Don't forget that you can join in with everything we're chatting about too. You can tweet us at That's Manchester, email me Chyaz at thatsmanchester.co.uk, or text us on 075 48 200 007, and don't forget to start your message with the word talk. Okay, well, first of all, we're going to talk about Jeremy Hunt, so the Health Secretary. Today he called for a national debate on caring for the elderly. So this is obviously a topic that's been hugely discussed in the media for years now. It's always sort of a very sort of hot topic. Do you think we need a little bit more discussion about this? Do you think this debate's a good idea?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's a lot of discrepancies in different areas, different cities and stuff, which isn't fair to the people who are using those services. So I think it would make sense to kind of have a review and kind of see where areas might need to be improved, and maybe look at like a national kind of level or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Rachel, what do you think?
I think there needs to be some discussion about some of the care homes, because I seem to be seeing a lot in the news lately about certain care homes that are really mistreating elderly people, and it seems to be more and more.
There have been a lot of stories and documentaries and sort of exposés recently, and in the last few years as well, about care homes. Do you think that's maybe an area for focus?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, you put your elderly relations into a care home, you expect them to be looked after properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever been involved with sort of caring for a relative or even a neighbour or a family friend, and how's that experience been?
I mean, like, when with my grandparents and my parents and stuff, I'll do bits and stuff when I can, and it's been good. Yeah, I enjoy looking out for them and being there for them and stuff.
Yeah. Rachel, how about you?
I've never really been involved in anything like that. I mean, I still live with my mum and dad, so obviously I'll do bits and bobs to help them out when I can. My mum's mum and dad died when I was little, so I don't really remember much about them. My dad's dad, my granddad died when I was about 13. My other nan is still alive, but I don't really see that much of her, so I mean, I've never really had to be involved with looking after anybody elderly like that or anything.
Because it's interesting to talk about sort of the two sides of this. So very much the big sort of politicians talking about care for the elderly in terms of policies and sort of the very factual side of things. And then also being at home with relations or neighbours and actually sort of helping out where, like as you said, as and when you can and what needs to be done. Do you think that those small changes matter, or is it more of the big changes, or can they work together?
I think it's very hard to pinpoint that because it's very personal kind of individual to the person's needs. I think for a lot of them, I think the smaller changes would have a more of an effect, maybe, like especially things in like the care home, the smaller things that they can do and things like that would make a huge difference to the families themselves. Obviously the policies are important because they allow those functions to happen and things, but the smaller things are quite important.
Yeah. Do you think the big picture or the smaller details are the way to go?
I kind of agree with that, really. I think to make bigger changes you need to start small and work your way up.
Yeah, and talking about the sort of starting small, this has been sort of a huge online discussion. Do you think that perhaps talking about these kind of things online can prompt real changes?
Yeah, I mean we've seen like how petitions can make differences and things, they can be online as well, so I think that's definitely...
Have you ever taken part in any of those?
Yeah, definitely. I put petitions and kind of just general conversation really, because I mean social media is such a huge part of people's lives. It's natural that those topics will come out on those channels, so it makes sense to kind of look at what people are saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. Rachel, if say you were campaigning for something, would you go online to sort of start that campaign off rather than sort of a group of people sort of gathering in real life?
Yeah, I definitely would, because I think social media is so powerful. I think, to be honest, you can get a lot more attention from social media than if you go out somewhere and try and get people's attention face to face.
It's interesting. Yesterday on the show we were talking about raising awareness for Lyme disease. And one of the topics that came up, which I'd love to get your perspectives on, is whether, when we're talking about things online, we talk a lot about sort of raising awareness for a particular cause. Do you think that there might come a point when we've sort of raised awareness for so many different things that conversations get a little bit lost?
That's interesting. I haven't really given it that much thought, but I can see where you're coming from, because there's so many worthy things that need to be talked about that it does make sense. But I think as with anything, if it has a strong focus behind it, and I think it will kind of be seen through.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rachel, with anything you've been involved in, have you noticed sort of that these conversations actually do gather quite a lot of momentum?
Yeah, I mean, I'm campaigning at the moment. Well, I won't say campaigning, I'm doing a fundraiser for a little girl who's really seriously ill. And I've done a lot of that on social media, and I've had so much interest from it. Like people coming forward saying, oh, we'll donate this, we'll do that. And it's just been really, really good. I've had so much more interest from the social media.
Really? So more than sort of talking to people in person, it's sort of brought people to the cause? Yeah. That's fantastic. And I did want to talk generally about the health service, because when we're talking about care for the elderly, it often ends up being a wider discussion about the NHS. How have your experiences with the NHS been? Because a lot of people have either had sort of a really, really good experience or not so good, and there's not always sort of a middle ground, or at least it's not massively talked about, because online we tend to talk about either really good or really bad experiences. But how have you found it?
The NHS has been a really big part of my life since I was little, for various reasons, and I have had a really good outcome from that. I haven't had any really bad experiences. I've had some really great ones and some general ones that I can't really complain about, because everyone's doing their job and they're giving us the best care possible, which I think is really important to put into perspective. I think sometimes people can expect too much without realising the implications of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really interesting point, and it's something that I've thought myself as well. I think it's, absolutely, I totally agree with you. And I think it's a funny one, isn't it? Because it's so easy to complain. And like we were talking about the weather, I know it's a totally different subject, but it's very easy to complain, but like taking a step back perhaps is sometimes good in sort of getting that perspective on things. Excellent. We're going to move along to a rather more light-hearted subject, which was hashtag Woof Woof Wednesdays. I was talking about dogs, and Rachel, I want to come to you first of all, because I noticed the tattoo on your arm is the paw prints. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I actually got that a couple of weeks after the Manchester Dogs Home fire as kind of like a little memorial to all the dogs that died.
Oh, and was that story something that really affected you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe you rescued your dog from Manchester Dogs Home.
Yeah, we got him, I think it's about 4 or 5 years ago now.
Oh, and how did that all come about? How did you find out about the Dogs Home?
We've known about it for years. I think it's quite a well-known thing in Manchester, but the dog we had before him we had to have put down because his back legs went.
Oh.
And we left it for about a month or so, and we kept saying, no, we're not getting another dog, we're not getting another dog, but you know, you can't not get one.
Yeah.
And I think we'd always go to the dog's home because, you know, there's so many dogs in there that do need a loving home.
Yeah, absolutely. So this hashtag Woof Woof Wednesday, I love saying it, it just rolls off the tongue. It's all about sort of sharing cute photos of dogs, but there is a more serious angle as well, which is, especially at the moment, one of the hot topics within this hashtag is about keeping dogs or not keeping dogs in hot cars. So very much sort of campaigning against that awful thing that happens, and it's very sad when we see that. Have you ever actually seen this happen, or have you heard many stories about this?
No, but I mean, you wouldn't keep a baby in a warm car, so why would you do that with a dog? They're still a living being.
Yeah.
They deserve to be free and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And have you seen a lot about this online, about dogs in hot cars?
Yeah, I've seen quite a lot. I don't know how true it is, but I did see something saying that if you do see a dog in a hot car, especially today with it being the hottest day, you can take a picture of it, bring up BBC Weather on your phone and screenshot the temperature, and then if you do that, you're free to smash the window to get the dog somewhere, and we can't do anything about it.
Because I was really interested in the sort of the protocol of what you're meant to do. I did a bit of research from the RSPCA website, and what they actually mentioned was about ringing 999 if you see a dog in a hot car, because it's just the police will then get in touch with the RSPCA, and that's how it'll be sorted. I think it's a difficult one. On the RSPCA website it mentioned about if you were to smash a window, then that would probably be sort of considered criminal damage, and they'd advise not to do that, but they just said to ring the police. But it's very, very difficult because it's an emotional reaction, isn't it, if you were to see that? It's a really, really difficult one. Have you ever, so when you've been involved with sort of the charity with the Dogs Home, have you sort of done any more activism with that, other than did you sort of take part in the fundraising when there was the fire?
Yeah, at the time I wasn't out singing on my own, I was still with the duo, and we actually did a fundraiser for the Dogs Home.
Oh, tell us a little bit more about that.
I can't remember how much we raised actually. I think it was about £200-300, which we had like 2 weeks to organise it, so I think we did all right.
That's absolutely fantastic. Oh, brilliant. And Nafi, I believe you're not necessarily a dog person, but you do like animals. You're an animal lover.
Yeah, definitely.
And you have a fish.
I did, yeah.
Ah, fabulous. So would you ever be tempted to get a dog? Would that be something that would you go to somewhere like the Manchester Dogs Home, or what would you do if you decided to get a dog?
I don't plan on having a dog anytime soon, but if I did, yeah, I would consider that avenue, because I do think it would be nice to kind of help a dog who needs rescuing and give them a home.
Yeah, absolutely. And in your experience, Rachel, would you always go to a dog's home now?
Yeah.
And why is that? Why would you not is it just because you've seen it from sort of the inside of how valuable it can be?
I think it's just as well because I know that I think they only get so long, don't they, and then if they don't find a home they get put down, and I hate the thought of a healthy dog being put down, so I just think, well, if I'm going to get a dog, why not go there and save a dog's life maybe?
Yeah, absolutely, because I mean it's so emotional when we all remember the story about the Manchester Dogs Home fire, and it was such a huge topic on social media as well, and I think it's something that really sort of hits home, and I think a lot of the conversation on this hashtag as well was sort of about the rescuing and the animal welfare, and it's something that's sort of been a huge conversation. We'll be back after this quick break. Join us in 3 when Nafi, Rachel and I will be discussing mobile phones and the Women's Hour Power List. See you shortly. Welcome back. Today I'm joined by 2 of Manchester's social media stars, blogger Nafi and singer Rachel. We still have plenty of the day's top social media topics to chat about, including the 70th birthday of a legendary rock star. We would love to hear your thoughts on everything we're discussing too. You can tweet us at That's Manchester, email me Chyaz at thatsmanchester.co.uk, or text us on 07548 200 007 and start your message with the word talk. First up, this is a topic that I think we could all relate to on some level. It's about 0800 numbers that are now free on mobiles and landlines, which is really good news. But I think most of us at some point have probably had a bit of a bad experience with getting an unexpected mobile phone bill. Have you guys had this experience?
Yeah, I have.
What happened?
I think it's because all the businesses these days tend to be like 0800 numbers, 0845 numbers, and obviously if you're trying to get hold of a business, you don't have any choice but to ring that number.
Yeah.
But I rang one thinking, oh, it'll just be the same price as a normal landline call. It wasn't. I think it cost me something like £40–50 for the call.
That's outrageous, isn't it?
You tend to ring and they'll put you on hold as well for ages.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh, that must have been, when you got that bill, that must have been a pretty bad day.
I remember ringing the phone company saying, why have I got a bill this big? And then when they told me, I was like, oh dear.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. How about you, Natty? Have you had any of these bad experiences?
Yeah, like whenever I've had to use an 0800 number, I have to always like make sure I use my house phone and double check that it's okay and stuff like that, because you never know how much it's going to cost, you never know how long you're going to be on the phone for.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually. It's kind of what you both said. You don't know how long you're going to be on that call for, and you sometimes sit there on the phone thinking and adding it mentally in your mind, like adding up how much.
A minute.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And how often do you tend to sort of use your mobile phones in terms of, you know, like when you go into a phone contract, you have a certain amount of minutes, a certain amount of texts. Do you tend to sort of stick to that plan, or do you use things like apps where perhaps those messages are free?
Well, I mean, I use a mixture of both, actually, I guess. I do stick to my minutes and my text, but I also will use an app to instant message. Yeah. And of course, we all have the social media apps on our phones and stuff like that.
Yeah. How about you, Rachel?
I'm not too bad because my price plan, actually, I get unlimited text, unlimited calls, which is lucky now, but the 0845 things are not included on them, so it was still costing me. But I do have stuff like WhatsApp as well. But I only downloaded that because I got so many people saying to me, oh, get this, and I was like, well, I don't want it, I've got free text. But they just went on and on at me, so I just downloaded it just to keep them happy, really. I don't really use it that much.
Yeah.
It's just, if they message me on it, I'll reply. And
exactly, it's just convenience, isn't it, really? Just being able to do it the quickest and easiest way. And something else that's hugely discussed on this topic about sort of unexpected bills is when you're on games or apps on your phone where there are unexpected prices of things you have to buy. Have you ever accidentally bought anything?
No, but I have almost done that. Like when you're playing a game and you have to buy like certain amount of coins, certain amount of money and that kind of stuff, it kind of like stops you.
Yeah, it's tempting.
Yeah.
Have you?
I've nearly done it as well. It's just a good job that the screen came up saying, are you sure you want to buy it? I'm like, no, I don't want to buy it.
Because it's easy enough to do without realising, and it's just that final moment where they have to double check that you actually want to buy these things. But it could be so easy to just sort of do that and then end up with a huge bill again.
Exactly, because if you're playing the game constantly, you don't realise that there's a small amount of money, even if it's a pound or something, will add up at the end of the month because you're playing it constantly.
Absolutely. And interesting talking about the apps and the social media side of things as well. If someone were to say to you, oh, just send me a message about whatever you were talking about, what would you naturally go to first? Would it be a text, an email, a Facebook message? What would you do?
Well, like Rachel, I do have unlimited text. I would more likely, unless it was a picture, I might send it through another instant messaging site if it was a picture, but I would generally text probably.
Yeah. How about you?
I think even though I've got the unlimited text, I'd be more likely to go onto Facebook and do it on Facebook.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm the same, actually. If it's a picture, I would do that online rather than on text. It's funny, isn't it, how we don't even think about what we do. It's these habits that we get into with using everything differently.
Yeah.
Do you think that we are perhaps a little bit too reliant on our phones? Do you think we just tend to use them by default just a little bit too much?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I like using my phone, so I'm not going to complain about it, but yeah, I am on my phone quite a lot. So.
Is it your sort of go-to, Rachel?
Yeah, definitely. My mum's always saying to me, you're going to get off that phone anytime soon. Even at home, when I've got the laptop there, I'd rather go on my phone on Facebook.
But why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think it's more convenient, because I think on a laptop you have to be sat up, and but on a phone I can just lie down and chill out a bit.
Yeah, and there are some apps on there that you can't use on a laptop. You've got to use them on your phone as well. Yeah. And do you think that's a good thing, or do you think it encourages us to go into our bubbles a little bit too much?
I guess it depends on the app, because I know the sort of like meditation apps and stuff would require you to do it, and that's all about kind of zoning out and relaxing and stuff. So it's designed to do the opposite of that.
Yeah. Those sound fascinating. Sort of meditation apps just to sort of like calm you down. Like that sounds fabulous. I need to have a look at some of those for sure. Okay, we're going to move along to a topic that I was really excited to talk to both of you about today. The Women's Hour Power List has been released. And we have a few to read out. So number 1 on the power list is Nicola Sturgeon, leader of the SNP. Number 2, Anna Wintour, a Vogue editor, of course. Number 3, Angelina Jolie, for all of her work that she's been doing, not only in her sort of acting and media career, but her sort of humanitarian work and her raising awareness for cancer and all of the other work that she's done. And number 7 on the list as well was Caitlyn Jenner, which a lot of people just thought was absolutely wonderful. What do you think of this list? Have you seen much of it?
I like this list. I think it's nice to encourage women to do good and celebrate the things that women are doing, because they do some incredible stuff. So
yeah,
why not celebrate it?
Exactly. And how about you, Rachel? Have you seen this list today?
No, I've actually never heard of the list before.
Ah, okay. But do you like the idea of it? Do you think it's good to celebrate?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think women get enough credit for the things that they do.
Excellent. Who inspires you? If you could pick your number 1 person on the list, who would you pick?
At the moment, I have to say Taylor Swift.
Oh, okay. Why is that?
Just because of, not necessarily just the fact that she is really hardworking, and she seems like a really good person. She does a lot for her fans, and yeah, I just genuinely like that. But in my own like personal life, my mum.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, how about you, Rachel?
I have read about the stuff that Taylor Swift's doing, and again, I think it's really good. I read something that she'd done recently, I think, for a fan that was really ill. Did she do a concert or something for her? Yeah, I think that's really good when people, because I know sometimes when people get really famous, they can get a bit stuck up and not want to do things for the fans, but I think when people do that, it's really nice that they're taking the time to notice the people that have gotten to where they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just the way that she's with her friends as well, like she's in the middle of a tour, yet she still managed to host a baby shower for one of her friends.
Oh, I think I saw that online actually. That was really sweet. Yeah, it was lovely. And Rachel, who else sort of inspires you? Who would you like to see on the list?
I'm not sure if she's already on the list. I love Idina Menzel.
Ah, okay. And why is that? What inspires you? What that she does?
I think she's just amazing. She's got such an amazing voice, and she seems to be such a really nice person as well. I actually went to see her last week when she was in Manchester.
Oh, fabulous.
And I've never seen her live before, and I kind of expected it to be like this really formal thing where everyone just sat down and watched and they were really quiet. But she was hilarious. I didn't realise how much fun she actually was. She was cracking jokes and everything on stage. She forgot the words and made a joke of it.
Oh, I like that. That's good.
She just seemed really down to earth.
I was just about to say that exact thing. It's a really down to earth thing to do. Absolutely. We've mentioned the list, and why? I know we mentioned obviously about celebrating the work that women do, but why else do you think this list has been so discussed and people are so interested to hear who sort of ranked in this sort of power list?
I think because there's so many vast amounts of different women who could potentially be on the list, from reality TV stars to philanthropists, politicians. So it's really interesting to kind of see how we, in general, whoever votes on the list, how we rank them.
Definitely. And obviously number 1, Nicola Sturgeon, a politician. Did you sort of think that was quite the right decision, or would you have preferred to see someone else, so maybe sort of from a broader spectrum? I mean, it's difficult, isn't it, with a politician, because they obviously stand for very much their own policies rather than being inclusive of sort of the views of everybody. What do you think?
I'm quite surprised that it's a politician that is at the top of the list. I would have expected maybe like a singer or an actress or something like that, just because people tend to know more about those kinds of people.
And in fact, both of your number 1s on the list are both singers. Do you think there's something about musicians that connect with them on a different level to sort of more sort of key public figures?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, again, because singers tend to be more in the public eye, like I said, people seem to know more about them and seem to look up to them a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Who inspired you growing up, and how did that sort of shape what you did in your life? So I don't know whether, Rachel, you had a particular singer growing up who inspired you?
My inspiration when I was growing up was actually my brother.
Ah, Okay.
Because he's always been really into his singing as well. He had his own karaoke roadshow, which is the one that I used to go to on a Sunday afternoon when I was little.
Fabulous!
And he moved on from his karaoke's onto like singing on the pub circuit around Manchester. And I just always looked up to him. He was always my idol. It was always my big brother this, my big brother that. And I just always used to look and think, I want to do that when I get bigger. I want to go out and sing for people.
And look at you now.
Yeah,
That's what you're doing. Oh, fantastic. And Nafi, how about you? Who is your inspiration growing up?
My mum was definitely my inspiration. She's such a strong woman. And just my other, like, elder cousins, because I'm quite a family-oriented person, they were pretty much really my inspirations. In terms of, like, a public figure, I didn't really have many, but kind of like the strong women in, like, the TV shows, kind of like Jessie Spannel.
Oh, cool.
And those kind of characters.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic stuff. That was really, I feel really inspired now. It's brilliant. Thank you both. We'll be back in a few moments with lots more discussion about today's hot topics, including International Joke Day, which I'm very excited about. Find out more after the break. Hi there, you're watching Talk Manchester with me, Chyaz. I'm with today's guests, Nafi and Rachel, and we've been chatting all things trending on social media. Our first topic is about one of my all-time favourite artists, Debbie Harry. It's Debbie Harry's 70th birthday today. I don't know if either of you are a fan of Blondie.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you love about Blondie?
Just how original it was for the time, and it's just really amazing, isn't she?
Oh, I absolutely love Debbie Harry, like her voice, her style. There's just something I really love about her. How about you, Rachel? Are you a fan of Blondie at all?
I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I do know a couple of the songs, but not a massive fan.
Because with Debbie Harry, a lot of the focus has been, like I said, not only on her voice, but her style as well. And a lot of sort of female rock stars that have come after her have had this very sort of the blonde hair, like the kind of grungy look, and that's been sort of as influential as her music.
Yeah.
And what do you think about that? Do you think that there's perhaps a little bit too much focus sometimes on a performer's like look, or do you think it's quite important?
I think they do tend to go hand in hand, but I think that's why she's so iconic, because she was one of the original rock women of the time. And, you know, she paved way for other rock artists to come later on and develop their own sort of style, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And Rachel, when you're on stage, do you have like particular stage outfits? Do you do your hair and makeup any particular way?
I tend to do it to kind of, I can't talk today.
That's okay, don't you worry.
Wherever I'm playing, I tend to style myself towards that place really. If it's like a really posh place, I'll wear a dress. If it's just like a small pub somewhere, I might just put jeans and a nice top on or something like that, but I'll always do a bit of makeup, and I have to make sure I've straightened my hair. I can't leave the house unless my hair's straightened.
Oh, it sounds good to me. Do you tend to prefer sort of more modern artists, or sort of the classic sort of singers and sort of rock stars?
Classics, for sure. Yeah.
I remember, Nafi, last time you were on the show, we had a bit of a moment because we both love Queen.
We do. Yeah.
What is it about Queen that you just love?
Just the energy, the vibes, and the songs, the emotions behind the songs are just incredible. They don't make it like that anymore.
Yeah, oh, I absolutely love Queen. I think we're both on the same wavelength about that one.
Yeah.
Rachel, how about you? Who do you tend to listen to on a daily basis?
I'm more into the modern stuff really, like Evanescence, some of the cheesy stuff like Steps and S7. They were always my favourites growing up.
Nothing wrong with that.
Don't know all the dance moves.
Oh,
Me too, don't worry.
Me too, also. Me three, yeah.
I do like Queen songs. I think it's more a case of, because I wasn't really old enough when they were around to like take much notice. I think that's what's kind of like not got me into them as much. But yeah, I'm more into the modern stuff. Cheryl Cole as well. Cheryl Cole.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're singing, do you take inspiration from artists in terms of doing covers of their songs?
Yeah. Again, like Cheryl Cole, Amy Lee. You mentioned before you heard some of my stuff.
I listened to some of your songs, your covers of Evanescence songs, and you just sound so much like Amy Lee. It was amazing, absolutely fantastic.
I'm still really honoured that you said that.
Oh,
I can't believe
so
someone
true.
said I sound like Amy Lee.
You do. It's excellent. And yeah, I mean, Nafi, we're obviously quite into our Queen. You know?
Yeah.
But do you like sort of more modern music? You mentioned Taylor Swift as well.
Yeah, no, I do definitely like modern music. But I also really have a special place in my heart for the classics. But yeah, no, definitely modern music. I'm all there. Like, I used to dance to S7 instead, then, you know, I listen to Taylor Swift, and yeah, definitely.
What do you think sort of helps a song to stand the test of time? So I automatically think of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
It's still amazing to this day.
Really.
What do you think makes a real classic song?
The fact that it can be related over time, like it isn't just relevant to that particular time in history. Which, I mean, if the song is, that's fantastic. I mean, it's still a great song. But the bigger songs that make a lasting point, like Michael Jackson songs, for example, are because the topics that he mentioned and he talked about are still relevant today.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rachel, what do you think makes an artist timeless? So someone, you know, like Cheryl Cole, she's not perhaps done a lot of music very, very recently, but a lot of her songs, people just absolutely love them. Why do you think that is?
I think it's kind of to do with her image as well as the sound, really, because there's so many people that just adore Cheryl Cole. I mean, she's not Cheryl Cole anymore, she's Cheryl Fernandez-Racine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think because she's collaborated as well, hasn't she, with will.i.am quite a few times, and I think even though some of the songs kind of sound a little bit similar, as soon as you hear a Cheryl Fernandez-Racine song, you know who it is.
It's funny, really, because we think you think of Cheryl Cole as someone who's sort of very, very modern, but actually she's Girls Aloud probably formed over 10 years ago. Actually,
yeah, so 10th anniversary last year, did they?
Yeah, there you go. So it's funny how we can have this perception of what's sort of more modern and not. And also in social media as well. Do you tend to get involved with the artists that you like on social media? Do you follow them and keep up to date with what they're doing?
Yeah, definitely. Collabro at the moment are one of my favourites, which seems to surprise a lot of people because with it being kind of like a different style of music to what I'm singing and stuff like that. But I think I mentioned before I did do musical theatre at college, so it is still kind of what I'm into. But you'll always find me on Twitter tweeting Collabro, seeing if I can get a little tweet back.
Oh, fingers crossed you can, that'd be great.
I've already had quite a few. They recognise me now if I go and meet them. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, brilliant stuff. And Nappy, how about you? Do you tend to tweet Taylor Swift?
Yeah, definitely. And there are other musicians that I follow in there as well. It's like find out when they have a new video coming out, and yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a good way to keep up to date with things.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm very excited because we get to move on to the final topic, which is International Joke Day. Yay. Now, I have some jokes here that I am very excited to read out to you. Before I do, one of my favourite jokes of all time is, what is brown and sticky?
What is brown and sticky?
A stick. It's one of my, I just think it's one of those classics. It's my go-to joke. But I have some more here. This is another favourite. What do you call a fake noodle?
What do you call a fake noodle?
An impasta. Oh, I know. I like that one. And then another favourite. What's the difference between a guitar and a fish? You can't tune a fish.
Ooh.
I know, they're fantastic. I do love a good cheesy joke. How about you?
Yeah. Anything makes me laugh. There's nothing more than I love when someone makes me laugh.
Oh, it's the best feeling, and I think that one of the reasons why International Joke Day has been trending on social media all day is because it's just that little sort of pick-me-up that we need, just to have a little bit of a laugh. Do you have any favourite jokes that you can think of? Or do you tend to prefer sort of funny situations?
A bit of both. I like joke. I'm not very good at making up jokes myself, but I like hearing jokes, and I'm always wanting to know what jokes people are coming up with.
Yeah. How about you, Rachel?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm terrible at jokes, but I do love hearing them. But again, funny situations, I think I tend to laugh more at funny situations than jokes, really, because sometimes, depending on the joke, they can be a little bit cringy, I think.
Yeah, like perhaps the ones I just read out, a little bit cringy. They're fine. I like them. I like cringy jokes, and for me, there's something about just the silly, daft joke that really, really just makes me, I think it's nostalgia. I really think it's nostalgia, just sort of clean, fun jokes that I tend to like. But yeah, I don't know. Reading them off, wrappers of chocolate bars, I seem to remember reading funny jokes, and I don't know.
I still love doing that.
Me too. It's good. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's talk about comedy in general. What's your sort of favourite style of comedy?
I do like a little bit of stand-up, but I also like comedy sitcoms and stuff like that. I'm not always catching up on them.
Yeah.
And they're on Comedy Central. Is one of my favourite channels. So.
What sort of favourites do you like? Particular shows?
Friends has to be an ultimate classic.
Oh, it is.
No matter how many times you watch an episode, you still end up laughing at the exact same spot as well.
Absolutely, I do that all the time, and the running jokes that are in your mind as well, and then every time the character says them, even though it's the same episode, it's this running joke that you just really appreciate. How about you? Oh, sorry, Nathy, carry on.
And you can actually like say it as we're saying it at the same time.
Oh, absolutely, there's definitely a few Friends episodes I can actually talk along with, for sure. How about you, Rachel? What do you prefer?
I completely agree with that. I'm a massive Friends fan. I think I can pretty much say every episode word for word. I've seen it that many times, but they're still hilarious. I can watch them over and over again and still find it funny.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan, and also I also love the American version of The Office, because the British version was absolutely brilliant, fantastic cast, but I think they moved it over to America really, really well, and it's something that I could watch over and over again. I think I'm probably on about the 6th time through of watching it. I just can't stop. Oh, it's fantastic. Highly recommended. I want to talk about sarcasm, because some people say, for example in Friends, Chandler's a very sarcastic character. Some people say sarcasm is like quite a low form of wit. What do you think?
I think it's just the way a person is. It's part of their personality, and I'm not necessarily a sarcastic person, but I guess I can appreciate it if it comes on. But yeah,
I can be quite sarcastic, to be honest, and I have found that sometimes people will find it funny, and then sometimes people can get quite offended by it. So I have to be careful now what I'm saying and who I'm saying it to.
Yeah, that's actually something I wanted to come on to. Do you think that these days we have a little bit less of a sense of humour generally? Do you think we can be a little bit too easily offended?
Yeah, I think I have found over the last few years people do get offended quite a bit easier than they used to.
Yeah, why do you think that is?
I don't know.
I think it's just people are just trying to be a lot more understanding of the different types of people out there. I think, because I mean, personally, nothing really works offends me. So you can have a joke and whatever, and I'll take it lightheartedly. But I know a lot of people around me in like personal conversations, it's not that condensed. But I know in like the large scale, like in big conversations, yeah, people are a lot more politically correct and aware of offending people.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because there's a fine line between something being funny and something being offensive, and I think that line's different for everybody. It's quite a personal thing. Do you think it's quite important to laugh at ourselves?
Definitely. I mean, if you can't laugh at yourself, then what can you laugh at? Really?
Yeah, that's a good point. And Rachel, is it something that you try to do as well?
Yeah, I was just going to say the exact same thing. If you can't laugh at yourself, what can you laugh at? I laugh at myself all the time.
I think it's a good way of sort of coping with things. If something goes a little bit wrong, just laugh and move on. It's something that I tend to do because I think it helps just to keep things into perspective as well. Oh, thank you both so much for joining me today. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. A massive thank you again to both Nathy and Rachel for coming along to chat with me on the Talk Manchester sofa. Join me next time when I'll be discussing the day's top online topics with 2 more local social media stars. See you soon.